Yo, so, God Valley, right? The shit's going down. We got some more context to it, and I'm gonna throw some shit at the wall and see if it sticks here. So if literally anything in this video is true, I get a free I told you so pass so I could spam the fuck out of it as much as I want. You know, it's an unlimited pass, just a warning. Literally anything, if anything I get in here is right, you guys will refer to me as a prophet. But anyway, with that context that we learned in the fucking last chapter, we learned a little tiny bit of context about Xebec, and, you know, maybe he wasn't that bad. Who knows? And the government may be throwing a little bit of propaganda at us, or Oda, I guess. Oda is really the fucking god and the devil of the story if you really think about it. But anyway, let's start at the first time God Valley is mentioned, back when Sengoku was given that bias-ass lecture back in chapter 957, where he essentially says Rocks is a fucking bad dude. I don't inherently disagree, but I'll get into that in a minute. Garp saved the day, and he teamed up with Roger to take down Xebec, Whitebeard, Big Mom, and the whole goddamn Xebec crew who were attacking the Celestial Dragons. At least that's what we knew at that point. He didn't go into any detail as to why the fuck anybody was there in the first place, which we kind of know now. And I could see why he wouldn't want to mention that shit. Because, I mean, Celestial Dragons fucking suck cock. But anyway, Garp comes out as the hero, which I kind of doubt was actually true. I love Garp and all, but I think he just gets the credit for being the hero because he's a Marine, and his best fucking friend is telling the story. So of course he's gonna ride his cock a little bit. I mean, who wouldn't ride their fucking boy's cock? But after Sengoku is telling his little story, that's all we got when it comes to God Valley for a mean-ass minute. We come out of that lecture thinking that Xebec is just Blackbeard 2.0. He's just some lunatic that tried to go to some Marijois kind of island to murder everybody there. But now we know it's a bit deeper than that. During the Kaido and Luffy fight, we got tiny little inklings of little shit that happened on God Valley, such as Big Mom giving Kaido his fruit to escape God Valley. And in Kaido's flashback, we see Big Mom screaming for Kaido, talking about how some bad shit's fucking going down on God Valley, and they gotta pull up and help Rocks, even though they fucking hate his guts. So clearly, Rocks did this on his own volition without warning anybody in his crew. It almost sounds a bit like Luffy with how little he seems to plan for shit, which is actually very different from how Blackbeard is, who fucking never deviates from his plan. He fucking sticks to his shit. But it seems like he was just waiting for this exact little Hunger Games event to go down, and once it did, he would pounce on that. It wouldn't surprise me a single bit if Xebec knew about all of this and all the little activities that the Celestial Dragons take part in. But that brings us to now in terms of little lore dumps about God Valley. Oh yeah, the little shit about Shanks being found in a chest at God Valley that was in film Red. And who gives a fuck about that handsome rat bitch? Well, last chapter, goddamn 1095, we're actually getting a pretty decent look into the cast of God Valley and what the fuck the island was even for in the first place. You know, at first we just thought it was Garp and Roger and, you know, the Xebec guys, and that's it, but it's proven to be quite a bit more than that. So at first, I kind of thought God Valley was like a second Marijois or just a Celestial Dragon type of island, and I couldn't be much further off. They just took it over because it had God in its name, and it had God in its name because of its valuable resources. I'm kind of hyped to find out whatever the fuck these resources are, but I believe that God Valley is the spot where all of the OG Revolutionary Army commanders met up. You know, Kuma, Eva, and Dragon. Kuma and Eva are there because they're fucking slaves, and you know, Johnny, Bonnie, whatever the fuck that one bitch's name, Bonnie's mom is there, at least, you know, I could fucking assume, and Dragon's dad was there, so it's a 100% plausible to assume that Dragon was also there with him. And we know that Dragon knows about the existence of the God's Knights. I mean, he fucking revealed the shit to us, who were also there. Well, at least Shanks' bitch-ass, handsome fucking father. Speaking of his father, how the fuck did he end up leaving Shanks there in a chest? I wouldn't be shocked if maybe there was something wrong with Shanks as a baby, or Celestial Dragons just don't really give a fuck about babies that much, and Garling, like, put him up for a bet or something for him winning, or some shit like that. Or, since Garling was clearly such a fuckboy with all the ugly-ass Celestial Dragon bitches fawning over him, he probably has so many fucking random-ass kids and baby mamas he just doesn't give a fuck about anymore, and Shanks could have been one of those. Now let's talk about how shitty the Celestial Dragons are. So the Celestial Dragons as a group, as a whole, or I guess really the fucking entire world government, but especially the Celestial Dragons, are probably the worst villain group ever. They have no real motive or reason to do what they do other than just being bored and doing shit to fuel their god complex and their giant ego. Like, come on, they got a whole bunch of slaves on an island and fucking lynched them for fun. I mean, they don't got anything else to do, but Jesus Christ. I wouldn't be shocked if Im was kind of the reason you know, all of this is happening in the first place. Because if you remember, back when Eam made the decision to blow Lelouchia the fuck up, Eam just said it was because it was close, but we know that shit isn't true. It's because Lelouchia was going fucking nuts with the revolutionaries, and Eam got all salty from it and blew them the fuck up. It's childish, and Eam, I believe, is at the forefront of all of this. Eam is like if a fucking 13-year-old girl got all the power in the world, and they just do petty shit out of spite. I don't know. Whatever. Enough about Eam. Now, this is where Xebec comes in. So we know that Xebec's final goal was to basically become Eam and, you know, become the whole king of the world shit, right? Now, judging from how Eam is that really all that bad? Now, obviously, Xebec is by no means a good dude, and he's like a fucking hyper-aggressive lunatic, even towards his crew. But with what the current Celestial Dragons do and what they did on God Valley, it just straight up cannot be worse, whatever Xebec has in mind. I'm sure whatever Xebec wanted was pretty horrible in its own right, but I'm sure Xebec has to be, you know, you gotta be pretty grimy and gross to get to the top. But Xebec essentially putting a stop to an event like that, or at least attempting to, makes him a hero, not fucking Garp. It's possible that Xebec was trying to just fucking slaughter everybody there on the island, even the slaves and the civilians, but I think he knew that a ton of very important ass Celestial Dragons would be there, and he just wanted to wipe the whole island out. And I think that's a, you know, it's a sacrifice, but it's whatever. I mean, you're killing a fucking ton of terrible people. He could be like a chaotic good type of character, if, you know, that's probably a stretch, but maybe. Let's say, theoretically, Xebec has the Dark Fruit, and he just sucked up all of God Valley inside of it, along with all the slaves and civilians that couldn't escape in time. I mean, that just fucking makes sense, and it's not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not that bad. It's not as bad as fucking having slaves and shit. He could possibly be killing thousands of little, you know, grunt celestial dragons, you know, like fucking the St. Carloses of the world, with a few gods' knights. I can understand why the fuck you want to do that. I wouldn't do that, but, you know, because I'm perfect. But I could get why somebody would want to do that, or would come to that conclusion. It's almost similar to Attack on Titan. A little Attack on Titan spoilers, but he's just wiping out fucking everybody like Eren, alright? It makes sense. I get why you'd want to get rid of all the bad people. Even if he's not doing it from a moral standpoint and only doing it to send some kind of message to the Gorosei and Eam, it's still not all that bad of a thing to do. I mean, if Xebec didn't show up, those slaves and the civilians and shit would have died anyway. It's like somebody giving money to a homeless guy and fucking farming him for views on like goddamn TikTok, non-consensually. Yeah, farming a random homeless man for views is bad, but you're still giving him money at the end of the day, so some kind of good is being done regardless, even if your heart isn't fucking pure. I don't know, I'm just talking, alright? Maybe we finally see Xebec's face next chapter. I'm betting that he's probably pretty, you know, rough looking, but if I was gay, I'd be all over those. But yeah, you know, that's about it. I'm very excited to see next chapter, and fuck. Wait! Okay, I forgot about some shit. No, this isn't to make the video over 8 minutes. My channel isn't fucking monetized and it probably never will be. But I want to bring up Kuma hearing the drums of liberation from Luffy on Egghead will do something. Just like it did to that fucking robot, that big ass robot from Void Century and Egghead. I think it will do the same thing to him. Alright? I'm just saying. I think that will be a plot point. Alright, you can leave now. Goodbye.